Welcome back to Red Card. I'm your host, Anthony Toterin. Joining us right now, live, is the CSA President, Victor Montagliani, and as well, League One Commissioner, Dino Rossi. Gentlemen, good evening.
Thank you, Anthony.
Victor, let's start with you. Let's talk about this third year that League 1 Ontario is about to kick off tomorrow night. How does the CSA, yourself and the board, view this league that kicked off 3 years ago and now in its third year expanding once again?
Well, I actually think it's a model of, a stage in development that has to happen across the country. I know Quebec's got a similar type of league. I'm not sure if it's at the same level as Ontario because I'm not sure where it's at right now in terms of the number of teams and stuff, and on the women's side especially how League One has grown. Out west we don't have anything, which I think that has to happen. But my hat goes off to both to Dino and to you as well, Anthony. I mean, I know you're the host of the show, but I also know how much work you put in League One, and but I think Dino, Dino's the sort of grandfather of this in terms of it was born out of his idea, and let's talk turkey. You know that I don't like to hide behind anything, and the reality is that there was a lot of people that poo-pooed the idea. We weren't ready for this. We got to wait for this and that. The reality is that when you want to get something done, there's certain people that get things done, and I think Dino is definitely one of them. And my hat goes off to him. And I think we just got to keep building on the success and make it better year in and year out.
Vic, reality is this league has produced players that have gone on to the national team, that have gone on to MLS and have great success. Today, we're hearing all sorts of rumors that Kyle Laurent of Orlando City, Canadian men's national team, young star on the rise, is being really sought after strongly by Lazio in Italy. That tells you that this league is doing its work. Victor, Benito Floro, head coach of Canada, has come to a number of games. Talk about how great that is to have that league right in his city that he's residing in to come and watch on a week-in, week-out basis.
Well, first, I'm glad he's not going to Juventus, so that makes me happy. I'm just joking, by the way. Listen, I think what we need to realize is that all these type of opportunities, everybody has to play a role in development. Nobody can really point to a player and say, I developed that player. Whether it's a youth team or whether it's League One or whether it's a pro, it is very important that we realize that, a player is like a good minestrone. It needs ingredients, right? And tender loving care. But what we really lacked, Anthony, was we lacked this stage of development, okay? And what League One has provided is that massive step for players to either go through or come back to. Because development is sometimes 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And at least in League One provides that opportunity, not only for the young ones to come through, but some of the ones that have tried and had some difficult situations, and then they come back to League One, get their confidence back, and then go back out. So that's why it's a massive opportunity and a massive step in our development cycle.
Dino Rossi, League One Commissioner, 4 or 5 years ago, when you started to put all the ingredients together to put this successful league together in its third year now, exploding in leaps and bounds in player development, in a women's division, a men's division, on and on and on. How many doors were closed on you? How many phone calls on the other end were people laughing? How many emails were not returned with this far-fetched idea?
Well, Anthony, like anything, there's always going to be challenges when you try to start something from scratch. We've had difficulties in the past in this province and in this country to create leagues like this one that can provide that critical bridge between youth soccer and the fully professional world and the national team level. There are people who are risk averse and there are people who have long memories and saw that things in the past didn't work out and asked why would it be different this time. At the time, I felt that, and along with a lot of people who were integral to making this a success, Victor gave me a lot of credit, but there was a lot of people helping out too. We just felt that the conditions had changed. We felt that a lot of things had changed in the Canadian soccer scene, and especially on the Ontario soccer scene. There was an absolute hunger for what we were doing to create a standards-based semi-professional league that could be the critical stepping stone like the OHL is for hockey. There was nothing there. The players would be left on their own after they reached a certain age in the youth ranks, and we felt that was a shame. And we were all the good work that the OSA, the CSA were trying to do in terms of young player development was going to be lost if you don't have that bridge to the next level. And we're very proud of what we've accomplished in a very short period of time. I don't like to harp on and focus on the negativity of the past, because there was some inevitably, but really what I'm much more focused on is how bright the future is for our league.
And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the wonderful harmony, Dino, where academies like Sigma can take part in this league and go up against wonderful clubs like Vaughan, Woodbridge, on and on. There is a wonderful vibe amongst academies and clubs in League One. They all believe in the player development, coach development, on and on. I think this is a success.
Absolutely. We wanted that from day one, that we created one platform for all the best high-performance organizations in the province to come together and to provide that opportunity for players, coaches, and referees to develop at this level. There's more out there, and we look forward to seeing the league grow and continue to create those opportunities. There's a lot of pins on my map in my office that are red right now, and I want them to be green, because that means we've got a League One license holder in that community. So we're very excited about where the future lies for us.
Victor, as the CSA president, what are you and your board doing to try and help League1 Ontario and all across this country with the lack of really, stadiums that are 4,000 or 5,000 seat stadiums to have all across this country, but specifically in Ontario, there's a massive problem to put teams in 4,000 or 5,000 seat stadiums, which are desperately needed.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, facilities, we don't lack for facilities at the grassroots level, per se, but we lack for facilities, and we don't lack for facilities at the sort of the high end as well, because with the building of stadiums that has happened across the country, as we saw with the Women's World Cup. But now our next challenge or the next frontier for us is that in between, is the sort of, the regional facility or the community facility that can congregate. No different in a lot of jurisdictions in the world where, stadiums are, like you said, Anthony, they're 2,500, 3,000, and they're community assets. And that is going to rely not just on the CSA. That's really has to be a long-term strategy where you involve not only the national body but the provincial body, and there has to be really a push with not only provincial government but also municipal governments to really show strategically how that obviously can help the community.
If I could add, Anthony, to that, one of my initiatives for this year will be to be very present in every community where League One exists, because we've spent 2 years trying to operationalize this league and get it to a certain level. Now it's time to go out and tell our story and get in front of municipal politicians, regional politicians, their professional staff that they have, and tell our story and explain why we need their support to have the facilities that will help ensure that our future is as bright as we expect it could be.
Victor, how important is it for other provinces to try and develop a League One model, whether it's in BC, Alberta, Quebec, on and on, so that they themselves can produce players like Kyle Larn, they themselves can produce wonderful coaches and have a women's league, which many women's league have come and gone in the last number of years, but League1 Ontario has started small and it will continue to grow to help out the women. How important is that other provinces try to build their own League1 Ontario?
Well, I think it's very important, because what League One has shown us is that there's nothing like building your own product. I know that it's sorely needed in British Columbia and Alberta. They have senior leagues, but with all due respect, they really don't provide any real. It's a bit of a graveyard when a player goes into those senior leagues from a development standpoint, and that's not what we're looking for. We need an opportunity for these players to push forward and provide that catalyst. And I think it's incumbent on the leadership in the provinces to step up and really provide that service. And the truth of the matter is that the players are there. It's just the political will that's not there. And I think that's one of the areas that I think the CSA needs to sit down with the jurisdictions that don't have a League One and push that, because the other product that has been out there in some of the other areas outside of League One and outside of Quebec has been the PDL. And what the PDL is showing us is it's not really in the best interest of Canadian soccer, because it's not a Canadian-built product. And, you know, we know what the challenges are with respect to professional leagues, but if we can't get a Canadian product at the first time you step out of grassroots football, you know, that's not a good thing. And I think what League One is showing us is that when you build it yourself and you build it in your own backyard, it's going to have a lot more success, in my opinion, than anything that you import from somewhere else.
Dino, you mentioned an interesting stat a week ago about how many players have gone on to success that have graduated from League1 Ontario. I'd mentioned this to you, Dino. I think I've mentioned it to you, Victor, and to all our listeners and viewers out there. The first couple of years, the first few games at the beginning of the season in League1 Ontario, whether you're at the TFC Kia training grounds, at Sigma at Hershey Center, or at Vaughan and Woodbridge, or at Oakville, MLS scouts, NCAA coaches flocked to come and watch this league, especially last year, where the first year it was unknown. How great is that? And give us that stat as well, Dino.
Well, yeah, thanks, Anthony. That's you teed it up really nicely. I was sitting with our staff a couple weeks back, and they put the numbers together, and we were astounded, to be honest with you. It kind of crept up on us that we had over 25 players in 2 years graduate from League One into full professional contracts, and including obviously Kyle Larn, who was the #1 draft pick and Rookie of the Year in MLS, Richie Laria, who went in the MLS draft in the first round this year. You know, there's a bunch of players in USL. There's a bunch of players who are doing well overseas. But, you know, as well, what's really got me very excited, and I think it shows that we've got a lot of potential in this area, we had 4 young women graduate from League One into professional contracts in Europe. In Norway, Sweden, France, Belgium, and in Germany. I didn't expect that fast. You know, I was hoping maybe we'd have 1 or 2, but to have 4 in year one, I think is a real strong signal to everyone in the women's football world that there is a ton of amazing talent in this province. And we are working very hard to recruit some of the best players. Yesterday, Aurora United signed one of Canada's brightest stars, Sarah Stratojakis, to play with them. So that's fantastic. You know, Dylan Carrero, who's a men's national team player, pool player, signed with Woodbridge this year. You know, we've got so much talent and we've got so much potential in this province. It's just a matter of swinging open the door and letting people see what we've got, and they'll want what we have.
Victor, we know you're a busy guy, so we'll let you go, but I can't let you go without getting an update from you. We, all 3 of us here, bleed red Canadian blood. We all agree we want spots for Canadian young talent to play across this country in a league based coast to coast, and as well a place for young Canadian coaches, young referees, on and on. It's time that we take care of our own here in this country. Give us an update on where this prospective new Canadian league is at.
Yeah, I think I gave an interview not too long ago in terms of just confirming that we're now in the process of developing a strategic and business plan, very specific, obviously with facts and figures in it, and so we're just in the process of starting that and building that out, and that'll be done throughout the next, I would imagine, 60 to 90 days, and then and hopefully we'll be in a position to present to the board of directors of Canadian Soccer in probably the fall session.
Outstanding. Victor, we really appreciate you making time. Continued success in CONCACAF, continued success with the CSA. And again, we really, really thank you so much for making time. Dino Rossi, League One Commissioner, we want you to hold on as we take a quick commercial break, and then we'll continue on our conversation for a few more minutes. Victor, thank you again for making time, my friend.
Good luck with your election, Victor. Good luck.
Thanks, Dino.
We'll take a commercial break and come right back here live on nextsportstar.com. Stay tuned.